Hi, this is James Malinchak, featured on ABC's hit television show, Secret Millionaire. And I am so excited to be here with my good friend, Barry Spencer. Barry is a financial educator, author, speaker, and wealth planner. Barry, my friend, welcome.
James, great to be with you today.
Glad to have you. So glad you're here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Barry, let's just dive right into it.
Cool.
So who is it that you love working with?
Yeah, we love working with successful business owners, executives, and professionals.
And what have you found that those individuals really want?
I mean, ultimately what they really want is to enjoy their wealth with the kind of peace of mind they always thought their wealth would bring them, be able to have the kind of freedom that they wanted to be able to have once they accumulated all the wealth they thought they would have, and then be able to really make a difference with their lives. I mean, both with their money, their experience, their talent, be able to give it back not only to their family, but also to the community and the people around them.
Oh, something we all want to do, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you're so passionate about this and so passionate about helping these individuals. How did you discover that passion?
Well, I don't know if you've heard, but you've heard the saying that passion sometimes comes out of pain. And for me, that pain kind of came out of nowhere. My father in 2007 was losing his battle with cancer. So in April of 2007, from my father's deathbed, he reached out to me and said, "Barry, be sure you take care of your mother." And it's weird because I'd seen those scenes in the movie before, you know, when a man's on his deathbed and reaches out to give a final charge, you know. Just never imagined myself being in one of those scenes personally. So it really got my attention, right? And so out of that, it was a strange kind of feeling, to be honest with you, because my father, if you knew anything about him, right, he was born and raised on a farm, left the farm with $240 in his pocket, became a very successful business owner and
hardworking man.
Hardworking, successful, and all of that. And it was in the midst of that I realized that all the folks that my father had turned to were not giving him the best advice, and now I had to turn to him, and I didn't have the answers either. And so in the midst of that, I said, I got to honor my father and figure this out for my mom, right? And so the passion generated out of that, and that's when I came across and said, nothing's in plain language. You know, people speak in a foreign language. They don't make it easy to understand. And so out of that, I turned to my good friend Scott Noble and said, Scott, will you help me? He had been an auditor of a Big Six consulting firm. He had audited billion-dollar companies. He had been a CFO, CPA, and he was a master at taking very complex financial situations and making them simple, right? And which is exactly what we needed. So together, we started doing that for my mom. And as a result of that, we told our story, his story, my story, and out of that, people said, would you help us?
So you really started learning in the trenches, you know, out of necessity for your own situation.
Absolutely, out of necessity, because my father left things, and within a matter of years, his net worth significantly decreased. And so it put my mom in a very uncomfortable position where, you know, am I having to change my lifestyle? Am I going to have to do things differently than Dad and I always did? And so with that, I mean, he said, no, Mom should never have to do that, right? With Dad being as successful as he was, you know? And so out of the trenches, as you say, from blacktop, we said, what is it, you know, what difference does it make? And how can we make a difference with this, first for my mom and then for others?
You know, you said something that I think we all go through. You know, we're going through life, things are going smoothly, and then all of a sudden there's that curveball that comes at you, something unexpected. You know, and if you're not properly aligned, especially with your finances, your business, you know, it really could hit you in a tailspin and send you down, because it'll take you in a whole nother direction, like your mom wondering, we're going to have to change everything. So talk to that for a moment, for someone watching.
Yeah, I think there's one mindset that people have to accumulate and generate wealth and amass a good amount of wealth. And most people are pretty good at that. But once you've accumulated and amassed that kind of wealth, it's really, I found, takes a different kind of mindset to know what to do with it once you've got it. How to protect it, how to preserve it, how to pass it on, how to create a paycheck out of that.
Create peace of mind with it?
Yeah, and then do it in such a way that you've got the peace of mind that you always thought you would have once you achieved everything you thought you would achieve. Absolutely.
Well, so that kind of brings this up. There are a lot of challenges that folks go through, and you've identified a lot of them.
And lived through a bunch
And
of
live,
them.
right? Real world in the trenches, right? Roll up the sleeves, let's figure this out.
Absolutely.
We don't have time to go through all of them, but what are some of the biggest challenges or maybe obstacles that you find some of your clients go through?
Well, from personal experience as well as interviews that I had after my father passed away with people worth $1 million to up to nearly $1 billion around the country, sat in their homes, in their country clubs, just one-on-one, just like this, and had a conversation with folks. And it was amazing, whether they were $2 million, 12 million, or 22 million. They all said the same thing. They said, will my money last? Or will I outlive my money?
It doesn't matter how much you have, you're always thinking.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter if you still had your business, if you didn't have your business.
That's a very important point. I want you to really touch on this. Most people, when they accumulate some sort of wealth, never think about outliving their money, right? Or will it last to be passed on to my loved ones, my family. So talk about that, because I think that's a big blind spot that a lot of people don't realize they have, is, how do I make sure this lasts?
Yeah, it's a big deal for folks. And it's surprising when you hear people with many millions of dollars wondering, is this going to work? Is this going to last?
Well, they have more responsibilities and more people to adhere to.
So one couple, I'll call them Clyde and Susan. Clyde and Susan came in. He was a senior executive. He was worth $13 million. He was making $2 million a year. And her number one question was, what are we going to do when he's done? And will we ever have to change our lifestyle? And do we have enough for ourselves?
Wow.
And you say, how in the world?
How in the world? $2 million?
Right. Income, $13 million in net worth, right? But it doesn't matter, right? Because as you're working, you are paying for everything you need, right? And you don't really have a concern about that while you're earning good income, right?
Yeah, while it's coming in.
While it's coming in, you don't even think about it. But at some point, the paycheck stops. And that's where her mind was going, is at some point, and where is that paycheck going to come from at that point, right?
Right.
And so that was a big deal. So it just doesn't matter at that point how much you have, how much you've ever had, or what your income is.
Do you ever talk with prospects or clients who actually don't even think about, oh my gosh, what if this runs out, or how are we going to make this last? And you, being the skilled professional you are, you sort of shift their mindset to get them thinking that way, so they'll be taken care of if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, and it's really quick to shift them down that road, especially if she's in the room, right? In this case, right? I mean, she's like, hey, really quick, I'm not changing. I want a car. I want to be able to go to dinner, right? Don't take away my golf, that kind of thing, right? But yeah, when you start to kind of lay out for them what the future can look like, and one of the things we do, which is folks have told us is really helpful, is to stop thinking about all the things you can do and start picturing the future. One of the great questions we love to ask folks, I mean, if you could wave a magic wand and have anything you want in your future, what would you see?
Yeah,
what would happen?
Right.
What would it look like for you, right? I mean, think about your money, your family, your lifestyle, your travel, right? Everything you would want to do.
Coming
what
from
would
a
that
place
look
of
like?
abundance and dreams and desires.
Absolutely. One gentleman who was a senior executive, and he was doing very well. And he was on his biggest income years, from $700,000. Now he was on track to do $1 million, $1.2 million, $2 million. And his biggest thing was, I want to make sure my wife is taken care of. I absolutely do. However, at the same time, if there was a way I could do some really big giving, I would love to be able to do that.
Give back, help others,
Give back
leave
and
a
help
legacy.
others. I'm working hard because he says, I know that I can make money, but it's once I have it, what can I do with it to help others? And so that really charged him up. And that charged us up, right? How can we help him see and do more than he even knew was possible?
Well, an income plus an impact.
Income and impact's
Right.
huge. Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned outliving your money is a big concern. I would bet kind of running parallel or connecting together, which is something a lot of folks probably don't think about, is the tax consideration or rising healthcare cost as well. So I sort of call those knowledge blind spots.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know? So
Absolutely.
could you speak to that for a moment?
Yeah, in fact, the blind spot part of this, there's things that people know, there's things that they think they know, and then there's things they have no idea, they don't know anything about, right? And taxes is easy. When you have over 72,000 pages in the IRS tax code, it's hard to know everything yourself, right? I mean,
you couldn't read it in a lifetime.
You couldn't, right? You bring it in on a dolly, right? So taxes is a big thing. So especially if you're making $700,000-800,000 or more, most people are paying the top tax rate, and there are many things you can do to be able to reduce the amount of tax you pay so you can have more for yourself, more for your family, more to help other people with. So you have the income tax issue, you have capital gains tax. A lot of people are sitting with significant capital gains, whether it's property or investments or the like, and they say, well, I can't sell it, right?
Right.
Well, how do I use it? Because I'm going to have a serious capital gains tax issue. So these are big issues, and what they do is they become uncertainties, and I get confused. When I'm looking at a 72,000 page tax code, I get confused. And when people are confused, you know what they do?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They just freeze.
They freeze and
Yeah.
they do nothing, which soars the fear. It soars
I
the
love
worry. It soars the uncertainty, and it compounds, like Einstein talked about, right? Compound interest.
Right.
When you use it for yourself, right, it compounds positively, right? But when you let uncertainties resonate in the back of your mind or in the forefront of your mind and not do anything with them, a compound actually works against you in the other way in a negative format.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when people don't address these issues of tax in ways they don't even know, it's holding them back from doing the things that really energize them, for sure. So tax is a big one.
Healthcare costs.
Healthcare costs, right? So you think about, as people are in retirement, my mom's well into retirement now, and when you think about that, the rate of inflation for retirees is almost double the rate of inflation for everyone else, mainly due to healthcare costs, right? And it's not only the cost of Medicare and health coverage, but it's all the things that people have to do now more than ever to stay healthy, right? The number one thing people want more than anything else beyond money is health.
Health, right.
If I don't have my health, I don't have anything.
anything.
So people are going to invest even more, and very few have thought through what's it going to take for me and my wife and my family to invest in our health for the next 20 years, 30 years, right? Which is another big issue, because what people don't realize is they will almost be in retirement for as long as they were working, which means they'll probably see their cost of living nearly double in that amount of time. And very few have really thought through, if my cost of living double, how is that going to work?
That's one of those hidden challenges that nobody ever thinks about.
They don't ever think about it. And even if they have, I've seen people come in with a spreadsheet written by hand, right? And I said, do I want to bank my future and my wife's future on handwritten notes? You know?
Well, Barry, this all sounds good, but can't I just go to the internet and read a blog? Or, you know, they say stuff in the media. I mean, isn't that all the truth if it's on the internet or if it's said in the media?
I have a friend, yeah, right. So I have a friend of mine that was on one of the business news channels. I think it was Fox Business Network or something. And they picked him up every week to do his little 3-minute spot. It was interesting what he told me. He said, Barry, I never forget that when I'm on my way, that I am in the entertainment business.
Even though this is a business show.
It is a business show, and he's
Educational.
supposed to be giving education and advice, solid advice that people can set their course, choose their investments, you know, choose a different heading. And he said, it is entertainment. First and last.
Well, there's advertising, there's sponsorship has to be sold.
And he knows he won't
viewership.
get asked back if he does not entertain. He will not get asked back. So I don't know if I want to bank my future on someone's entertainment jollies, if you will.
You know, we just have a few minutes left.
Sure.
But I want to get this in because I think it's so important. There is something that I've heard is the biggest lie out there, which is this. You know, hey, I'm really good over here. I'm the CEO of a company. I'm very talented. I know how to do this. So therefore, I can do the investment part and the planning myself. Or, you know, I'm great at whatever I've been doing for 25 years, 30 or 40 years. I don't know if I need a professional. What do you have to say to someone thinking about that?
I know you and I are both basketball players, right?
Love it, right?
And one of my favorite
And I'm
all-time.
taller than you, so
You are
I
taller
think
than
I'd
me.
win.
You will win. But one of my favorite players, obviously, is Michael Jordan. I grew up with him as a kid, watching you know, and you know, what did Michael Jordan do in the prime of his career? He tried to learn to play baseball and be a pro there. So I'm thinking, if one of the greatest athletes, if not the greatest athlete of all time, can't be a professional in 2 sports, what are we thinking? that right in every other area, being a professional in two sports. And it's a lie that a lot of the media touts, it's a lie that a lot of the big companies tout, right? And it doesn't, it actually produces less control, less confidence, and not more.
You know, I always say, you know, God forbid if you get sick, are you gonna go Google how to get better?
Mm-hmm.
No, you're gonna go to a trained professional.
Right.
You know, you have a heart ailment, you're going to go to hopefully the best heart doctor you can find, right? You're not going to try and diagnose it yourself.
Yeah.
You're not going to try and fix it yourself, right? And it's the same thing for wealth planning, correct?
It is. I mean, if you have a cold, maybe you can diagnose that, take some Benadryl and all that. But and you know, I'll go to Walmart for stuff like that, right? But when it comes to my health, my health, my wealth, and my future, it's one thing. I don't want to go to Walmart for that stuff, right? And doing it yourself is that kind of idea. When my father at 53 years old needed a heart transplant, we didn't research, we didn't look, what are they going to do in a heart transplant? We said, who does?
You mean you didn't read about it on a blog and try and fix it?
Probably not, no. Who does heart transplants? Who works with people just like me? And I find that's the same thing in your wealth, right? People want to work with people just like them, right? Who is it? Who are the business owners, executives, and professionals? Say, do you work with people just like me? So when you find that that's all you work with are those folks, then they specialize in that. Just like the specialist, I wouldn't want any other specialist doing a heart transplant than the heart transplant specialist. You know what I'm saying?
And that's you for finances. You are the specialist. So question for you as we wrap it up. So someone's watching. What's the next step you would encourage them to take?
Well, as you know, successful people know as well that they don't ever benefit, they don't ever improve their lives, and change never happens without taking action.
Absolutely.
So what we've done is put together valuable resources that are free to them that they can get access to at the information below.
Oh, that's awesome. Barry, thank you so much, my friend, for being here.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
So don't wait. Go right now. Don't procrastinate. Take action. Go to the bottom of the screen, click on the link, or better yet, dial up the phone number. Call Barry. Talk to him. Talk to his amazing staff. Set up an appointment to meet, and really let him diagnose as your financial doctor. Have him help you create peace of mind to preserve and protect what you've worked so hard to build, and help you leave a legacy that makes a lasting impact. I'm James Malinchak. Thanks so much for watching.